everyone. Welcome to my session. My name is Ritnika Nayan, and I am the owner of the music company Music Gets Me High. I have been working in the music industry for over 19 years in New Delhi, in New York, and in London. My company has been around for about 13 years, and we have focused on everything from artist management, bookings, music festivals, touring. We run a rehearsal studio. I am also the author of the book Indie 101, India's only book on music business. And I also teach music business certification via SACAC in New Delhi, both digitally as well as in person. So welcome to today's session. We're going to be talking about how to get started as an artist. You know, when you decide that you are ready to take your career to the next level, what do you do? How do you prepare a press kit? What do you know, if you look for a manager, what kind of manager to look for? And what do you do before you find management and after you find management? So I'm just going to share my screen with you all so that we can get started. Give me a second. All right. And of course, we need to share the screen. There you go. All right, so I'm just going to make this full screen. All right, so as you can see, this is the book that I wrote. It's called Indie 101. And if you haven't checked it out, it is available on Amazon India as well as Kindle. So you can head on over there. But to get started, a little bit about me. As I told you, I work with a lot of different people over the years. I've also worked on a lot of big artist tours and festivals, including Sula Fest, including Manu Chao India Tour and Guns N' Roses India Tour. So let's get started. First off, it is very important to understand what is the difference between an artist manager and a booking agent, all right? We always hear about artists, the minute they get serious, they're like, okay, I need a manager. But they often end up getting a booking agent and they call them a manager. It is very important to understand the difference. An artist manager's job is to take care of the entire career of an artist. This means that they don't just get you gigs, but they help you in figuring out every single thing. They help you in getting all kinds of details, whether it is trying to figure out your marketing, whether it's trying to figure out your touring, whether it's trying to figure out your recording deal, whether it's trying to figure out endorsement. They are in charge of every aspect of your career. So it isn't as simple as, hey, did you get me a gig? Okay, you got me a gig, you become my artist manager, all right? That is not how it works. In fact, it is more to do with molding your career, figuring out the business plan, figuring out how to kind of take it to the next level. An artist manager makes 15 to 20% of everything an artist makes. A booking agent, on the other hand, only gets you gigs and paid performances. This means that if somebody comes and gives you a gig and they're only responsible for getting you shows, then they are an artist manager. They are a booking agent, sorry. They are not an artist manager, all right? A booking agent can be both exclusive and non-exclusive. So for example, I have worked as a non-exclusive booking agent for years. This means I get calls by clients, by venues, and when they call me, I basically call up the artists that I think would work for that event. I would get them a show, I would make a cut, done deal. That's a non-exclusive booking agent, where I am not tied to the artist for life, where I'm not tied to the artist. I do gigs on a one-on-one basis. We do the gig, we're done, over. When it comes to exclusive booking agents, these are usually seen with more established artists, where all their gig bookings go through one person. So if the artist gets called directly saying, hey man, I want to book you for a gig, usually they say, call my booking agent, and the booking agent will do the deal. You can actually have a booking agent and a manager at the same time, because the manager does more than get you gigs. If you're a smaller artist, usually a manager is enough because they do the job of a booking agent as well. But if you're a bigger artist, you will usually have a booking agent and a manager. The most important thing to remember is that a booking agent if it's a non-exclusive booking agent, you can have multiple. All right, you don't just have to have one, you can have multiple booking agents, as long as they're non-exclusive. If they're exclusive, they can be territory wise. So you can have one exclusive booking agent for India, one exclusive booking agent for America, and so on. A manager is only one. You can only have one exclusive manager worldwide, which is why it's very important to understand what a manager does. A manager isn't just, hey, get me gigs. It's planning, is figuring out the next 5-year plan, is basically living and breathing, the artist. That's why they make 15 to 20% of everything the artist makes. And this is from the fee. So for example, if an artist has been paid 1 lakh rupees for an endorsement or a gig or for whatever purpose, a manager will make 15% off that 1 lakh. So 15,000 of that 1 lakh will go to the manager and the rest will go to the artist. It doesn't matter if you have contacted the artist directly. A lot of people mistake this and think, oh, I can bypass the manager and go straight to the artist. But if you are a genuine manager and you have a genuine relationship with the manager, you cannot bypass them. It doesn't matter who does the deal. It's okay if the artist doesn't want the manager to do the deal, but the manager will still make the money. All right. The booking agent, however, makes money on top. This means if an artist is charging 1 lakh, the booking agent will make 10,000 or 15,000 on top. So he will end up quoting 1,15,000 plus GST to the client. All right. They will take their cut, pay the artist 1 lakh. If the artist also has a manager, out of that 1 lakh, the manager will take 15,000 and then the balance goes to the artist. So this is how it works. All right. If you don't go with a booking agent and they're non-exclusive, you don't have to pay them. But if you have a manager, you have to pay them irrespective of who got you the gig, irrespective of whether there is a booking agent there or not. All right. A lot of people think, oh, I paid the booking agent. Why should I pay the manager? If an artist has both, you got to pay both. Simple as that. It is very, very important to know that you cannot cut out the manager. All right. Just to go back also, a manager and an artist relationship is like a marriage. All right. And this is what most people don't understand. As I have worked as a manager for over 10 years, and I am literally everything for the band. I am their manager. I am their assistant. I am their roadie. I am their doctor. I am their mother. I am their friend. I am their therapist. We do everything for the artist. All right. Whatever they need, the manager takes care of it. If you guys watch the show Entourage, that would really explain it to you. E from Entourage, as you can see, does everything for Vincent because he's the manager. But Ari is just the agent. So he only does the paid bookings and that kind of negotiation. So that's the difference. All right. So what qualities should an artist manager have? I know as an artist, you're looking for managers, and it's very important to understand what qualities they have. So the first off is, of course, experience. All right. You may find a lot of managers who are just starting out. And if you yourself are just starting out, maybe you're like, hey, this makes sense. But why do you need a manager? That is the first question to ask. A lot of people don't understand that when you're looking for management, it isn't as simple as, hey, I've just started playing an instrument, I need a manager. You only need a manager when to take you to the next level, which means you need to be at a certain level to be able to get managed by a good manager. All right. When you've just started out and you're barely getting any shows and barely making any money, you do not need a manager because you can't pay them 15%. 15% of zero is still zero, right? So you could get lots of non-exclusive booking agents, which would be a smarter move. But you don't need a manager. You need a manager when you have already kind of gotten to a certain level, and we will discuss that in a bit. But The experience that you're looking for in a manager is somebody who knows the industry, somebody who has contacts. All right, if they can't get you things that you yourself can't get with a little bit of work, that's the kind of manager you need, right? You need somebody who can do more. If they can't help you more, then there's no point, right? So they need to have experience, they need to have contacts. The next thing to look for is obviously motivation. Your manager needs to love your music. They're going to be with you 24/7, which means they are going to be listening to your music over and over again. So they have to truly love and be passionate about your music, not just about music in general, your music. The next is being organized and good at multitasking. Usually, a manager can manage a bunch of different artists, up to 4 or 5 different bands. It requires a lot of work. You have to be very organized. If the manager doesn't pick up calls, if the manager doesn't respond promptly on emails, if they don't have a proper schedule for you, if they are not good at multitasking, if they get overwhelmed really easily, that is not a good manager, because they have to keep the artist's life organized. So if they are not picking up calls on time and responding to clients on time, you as an artist are losing out. So it is very important to figure out what kind of manager they are. Next is additional skills. It's always good if you have a manager with some additional skills. It's not necessary, but it's always good. There are some managers who are actually lawyers, which help because that they can read your contracts and you don't have to pay for a lawyer. If your manager has a rehearsal studio like I do, they might be able to give you a discount in for rehearsals and jams. So that might be a great opportunity. If your manager happens to also be a trained sound engineer, that's also a great opportunity, because that means you don't have to pay another sound engineer when you're working on your album. All right. Last thing to consider is the roster. The roster is basically the other artists the manager already has or manages. It is important to see who else they manage. Now, if this person has 3 other rock bands who are at the same level as you with similar sounds as you, then there is going to be competition within the roster. As you can understand, there are only limited number of gigs we get in India. And most venue owners don't know the difference between punk rock and post rock and all of that. They just want a band. So if the band sounds, all the 4 bands are at the same price range, 15, 20,000, whatever the case may be, and you're all pitching for the same venue, you're creating a competition. So that can be a problem. But if the manager has, say, one big band, say like a Parikrama, and then they sign you up, that might be a good opportunity, because Parikrama gets a lot of shows and they could sell you as an opener with Parikrama, for example. Or if the manager has one artist in different genre, then you're like, okay, they like to have a diverse range and maybe I can collaborate with a lot of different kinds of artists. So these are things to also keep in mind before signing on with a manager. Again, to stress, it is very important that you and your manager have a very tight-knit, open relationship. This means you can communicate and trust each other, all right? If you're not good with the communication with your manager, and if you cannot trust them, then this relationship cannot work. It's just like a relationship of any kind, just like a marriage, just like when you're dating and you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. There needs to be clear communication and a good level of trust, because the manager is handling your finances. And if you don't trust them, that's, it's not going to work. I have actually seen a lot of managers take advantage of their bands by skimming extra money over the top. So as an artist, you should also be aware of how much you're getting paid for gigs and things like that. When I used to manage bands, even though I was doing the deal and I was doing everything, I always kept the band CC in all the negotiation mails, so that they knew exactly how much money was coming from the client. I am not, here to steal someone's money, but there are people who do things like that. So as an artist, be aware of those things, okay? You can only have one manager and it's exclusive. So if you give that title to somebody, make sure they're really doing the work of a manager. And if they're only giving you gigs, call them a booking agent and keep looking for a good manager. All right. Now, What do you do before you find management? Now, this is something very, very important. People keep talking about how you need to find a manager right off the bat. But as I discussed, there's a lot of things you need to do before you even consider looking for a manager. First of all, you need to create a buzz. If you are just starting out, you don't need a manager. As a manager, if I had just heard of an artist who had played one gig and they were not very known, unless I truly love their music, I may not take a chance on them, because it takes a lot of time to develop somebody from the ground up. Okay, you can get managers at that stage, but they may not always be the level you want them to, right? You want them to put you on NS7 headlining stage. You don't want to just get a pub gig, right? But you need somebody who has the contacts, but then also understands that they can build you to the main stage, right? So before you do that, you need to have your own fan following, all right? You need to have a great artist name, whether it's your own name, perfect. If it's a band name or an artist name, make sure you kind of have your social media pages sorted out, have the same name, get a website. It is so easy to buy a domain name right now. Just go to godaddy.com, buy a domain name. You can now make WordPress websites for really cheap. I mean, 10, 15,000 bucks, you can get a very simple website that you can update yourself. It's really easy. Um, you can get your name trademark. If you have a logo, you can get that trademark. These are things that you should do when you're just starting out. Create a fan following, start playing shows, start posting stuff on social media. I know in today's day and age with COVID, we can't play gigs, but you can go live, you can interact with your fans in a lot of different ways. So do some research, understand how other artists are going out there and finding out ways to interact with their audience, right? Ask yourself, are you commercial? Now, this is very important. I will never tell an artist what kind of music to play. But as an artist, you need to understand what your music is all about and whether you are sellable. You have to understand the music industry is an industry, it's a business. And yes, we do it because we love music. But if you want to be a good artist, if you want to be a successful artist, and you want to be a successful manager, you need to understand that it is also about making money. Because when you make money, you can go further. You can put that into recording, put that into touring. It's all a process. So if your music is sellable, it's commercial, that people would like to listen to, of course, it's easier. That doesn't mean you should change your style if that is not your music. I'm not saying that. But you yourself need to understand, okay, my music is a bit avant-garde, it's a bit off the beaten track. Not everybody will like it, but I love it and I want to keep doing this. That way you are very sure on what your music is about. And you can explain that to your manager, all right? You have to know yourself artistically. When I meet an artist, I ask them, what is your music all about? And they're like, oh, we're a rock band. That doesn't say anything to me. Tell me what your motivations are. Tell me what your sound is. Tell me who else sounds like you, or are you a completely unique sound? Tell me who your audience is. Tell me where do you think you will do well. Tell me what your future plans are. You need to know yourself and your music to the core before you find a manager, because you have to convey that to your manager. All right. Lastly, get experience. You have to start playing gigs. Now, I understand right now it's hard, but once we go back to the normal, post-COVID world, play at competitions, play at open mic nights, play for food and drinks, play as much as you can, because the more you play, the more fans you're going to get. You must promote each gig properly, not just put one post on social media. You should do a proper marketing campaign, collect email addresses, have a newsletter, start picking up fans, start growing your base. Also start letting people understand who you are as a person, so that if people hear your name, they recognize you. As an artist manager, I mostly have signed artists whose names I've heard of, or if I was recommended by somebody, like my own artist or another artist manager, that, hey, check out this band. How will someone say, check out this band, if we're not playing gigs, if we're not putting your music out there, if you're not active on social media, right? There are lots of different ways to do it. Figure it out. If you're just going to make music and not play in the long run, it's going to be harder to find a manager because the most amount of money you do make is from live gigs, right? But that doesn't mean you can't. You just have to keep that in mind. So just to recap, you need to build a solid fan base. You need to be professional. You need to show up for gigs and meetings on time. If I am made to wait more than 10 minutes for a meeting, I will leave. This is something that I was taught in the US in college. We didn't even wait for our professors. If you show up, if the professor is more than 10 minutes late, you are allowed to leave because they respect each other's time. It doesn't matter that person is of a higher authority or whatever. Everybody's time is precious. So show up on time, be professional, be accommodating, don't be a diva, don't be difficult. Help out, do help out and be accommodating. And definitely don't get drunk before the show. You want to do whatever you want to do after the show, fine. But before the show, be professional, all right? And then before you find a manager, you need to have a proper press kit and demo. Now, what should a press kit have? And this is something most artists don't understand. When you're mailing somebody for the first time, whether it's for shows, whether it's for management, people end up sending me mails which have large attachments. And I'm like, I don't even know you. Why have you sent me 30 attachments in a mail? You send me song files, you send me press articles, you send me pictures of yourself. I don't want this. Straight off, delete. I won't even read the mail because it's clogging up my mailbox, right? So you need to first prepare a press kit, all right? I'm going to walk you through the process today. A press kit basically has your music. So this has a cross section. So if you do lots of different stuff, you can do different playlists, you can have different styles. Your music should be online somewhere and your press kit should just have links to your music. Excuse me. This does not mean you send them actual audio files. If you're not ready to put your music out there, you can make, unlisted links which people can't search for, or you can make private links. But putting out your music is a great way to get fans. So you need to start doing that. So you should have a link to your music, link to your music videos. This could be your gigs, this could be your jams in your rehearsal studio, jams at home, good videos, of course, not bad ones. You need to have a bio, which is supposed to be a third person account. So you don't ever write a bio saying, hi, I'm Ritnika, I love to play music, my music is blah, blah, blah. No. A bio is a third person account. So you will say, Ritnika Nayan is a so-and-so musician. Her style of music is rock, blah, blah, blah. She has played at these venues. She has earned these kind of awards, blah, whatever you want to talk about. It doesn't have to be very long, but people often just copy paste. So if you're written I, that does not look professional. You need to get high resolution pictures taken. All right. If you're a band, you need to take pictures of the band as a whole, as well as individual members, because sometimes they're interviewing just one or two of you. And then if you're a solo artist, you also need to have multiple different pictures. You don't want the same one used over and over again. And they need to be over at least 1 to 2 MB, sorry, not low res files. Because if you were to print it or make a poster or whatever, they will not be clear. All right. If you have had any press articles, you don't need to attach the full press articles. You can just pick up quotes from the press. So it can be Rolling Stone, call me the next best thing, or something like that. You need to have a tech writer. A tech writer basically is all your technical requirements. So what you are going to be carrying, what you want the venue to provide, your hospitality writer. I know a lot of Indian artists don't have a hospitality writer because we don't always get what we want. And I understand that, but it's always good to have one. This includes including your travel details. If you're, out of station gigs, if you're getting rooms, double, single, smoking, you need water for stage, one meal, nothing fancy. Don't be elaborate, but you should put it down. Whether you get it or not is a different category, but if you get it, great. Lastly, make sure your contact information and social media links are there. I'm going to show you a sample of a good press kit, a good bio. It's from an artist you might recognize, but this is Mehak Anand from India, from Delhi, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this. But I liked her. I liked her how she's done it. So this is what the bio looks like. It's got her name. It's got her genre, which is great. You don't have to put it, but you can. It's got all the social media links. She's got a bio. She's got potential venues she's played at. You don't have to put this. You can just mention it in the bio, however you want to put it, right? It can be all in paragraph form. It can be just, like this, could be anything. Contact information for bookings, very, very important. She hasn't put any press stuff. So if you had any press articles written about you, like I said, you can pick up a couple of lines and add that into the bio. This is what a bio looks like. All right. This is one part of the press kit. Then this is your technical writer. Make sure everything is labeled. Make sure your name and contact information is on everything. All right. Because when you're playing for big festivals, we like to put all tech writers in one folder, all hospitality writers in one folder. So when the technical team has a question and they need to call, they will look at the tech writer and be like, whose tech writer is this? Where is the name? Where's the contact information? I have a question. And that becomes a problem if your information is not there. So make sure everything is written. She does a lot of different setups. So she's put tech writers for all, which I really like. If you will do solo gigs, duo gigs, band gigs, you can put it all in one and be very clear. Then we have the hospitality writer, which, she's put it in one, which is fine, or you can separate it. It talks about the kind of, food and beverages she needs, if you're kind of accommodation, guest list, etc. Again, you probably won't get all of it unless you're a bit more established, but it always looks professional to add it. All right. You always negotiate these things later on. So when you're sending someone a press kit, it should not be attachments. You should make either a Google Drive link like I have made here, or you can do a Dropbox link. If it's a Google Drive link, make sure it is shareable and accessible by all. A lot of people put password or email only, and that becomes an issue because we like to share. Like if I have gotten it, I need to send it to my designer, then she doesn't have access. It's a lot of headache, right? So whatever file link you make sure it is shareable by all. You label it properly. A lot of people don't label this, and this is a problem because when I download it, and if I'm downloading lots of press kits, I wouldn't know which one is yours, So as you can see here, it is labeled Ritnika Nayan press kit. In that, I have a folder which says Ritnika Nayan pictures. I have my hospitality and tech writer, which we just showed you. We have the profile, which I just showed you, the bio, right? In the pictures, everything should be labeled. If there's someone, a photographer that you want to give credit, put that right there. All right. This is also very important. People put their pictures, but then they don't label the pictures with their names. These things matter. All right. And you see, they're all over at least 1 MB. All right. Anything lower is not acceptable. Anything bigger is fine. Up to 5 MB, 6 MB is good enough. But label everything. Then all you do is when you're writing to a venue, when you're writing to a manager, when you're writing to anyone, you just send them a simple mail saying, hi, I'm so-and-so. Here is a link to my press kit, and you give them that link. The chances of your email opening are higher. The chances of people considering you because you look professional is a lot higher. All right. You can also make a website. Nowadays it's easy. Like I said, in the website, you can add more information. You can add an area where people can listen to your music. You can add, embed like a Spotify or an Apple page if you have released stuff. You can put a fan club where people can, chat or write messages to you. Touring information, of course. You can put more pictures, more videos. You can embed your social media stuff there, your Facebook, etc. So these are all kinds of things you can do. It always looks professional to have a website. In fact, what I would also recommend is if you make a website, have an area in the website where people can just click to download your press kit as well. That way, not only do you mail them, but you can mail people, hey, here's a link to my website. If you want my press kit, you can download it from there as well. So it looks so much professional, right? So these are things you should do before you get a manager. And if you already have a manager, get on this and make this happen, because this is the only way to be working in this business. The first thing is press kit. I know people who've been playing gigs for years and they don't have a press kit and it looks so unprofessional. All right. Sending people WhatsApp videos, sending people horrible, shaky videos. WhatsApp is not an official mode of communication. Email is. All right. After you find a manager, you must sit down and discuss your vision, what you want out of life, make a SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weaknesses, what opportunities your music has in the industry, what problems do you have as a band. Be honest, be open. If your drummer is lazy, be like, look, my drummer has a problem. We might need to replace him, or we might have to kick his ass to make him start working harder. Or it could be like, hey, my style of music is metal and I'm not getting too many gigs. What do we do? Plan, talk about it, right? Figure out small steps, 1 year, 1 month, 6 months, and then 5 year plan. They're building stones to a better future, right? That's what you have to do when you get a manager. Not like, hey, I've got a manager, get me gigs. No, make your press kit, figure out a plan, figure out where you want to go. Remember, when you get a manager as an artist, you don't stop working. You don't just make music. You're still doing the business side of things. You are still hustling. You're still making contacts. You're still connecting your manager to people. Your manager is just an additional person doing the same job, but you never stop. Artists that have gone ahead, who have gone further, don't stop working themselves. They are also always pushing their own career forward. So it is important for you to remember that. All right, guys, that was a quick masterclass on how to get started and how to make your press kit. I'm Ritnika Nayan. If you would like to sign up for my music business course, head on over to Music Gets Me High, mgmh.net. The link is right here. Go into MGMH Academy. It will show you a link to my book as well as my upcoming music business course, which is digital, so anybody can sign up from any part of the world. I hope to see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.